Hello, and welcome back, and once more, to Rock with Sambongo. And we're here with Rock with Sambongo. We're live at the moment, we're streaming. This is just a little bit of a thought process for me. This is a beautiful knife I pick up at the store, House of Knives. It's not a sponsorship or anything. It's got a beautiful little flick out, a little solid on this handle, but it's a light handle, so that's probably expected, and a nice, perfect click, like a pair of glasses in the case. I don't know why I'm mentioning it. Maybe because it's just my favorite little brand at the moment. I don't know. I can't help it. Sometimes I pick up something every now and again. In fact, I'm kind of a weirdo shopaholic like that. I tend to go to the store and I tend to get things that I don't need, that no one else wants, that they only have one of. It's just my deal. But anyway, unlike that, I meant to set out one day to buy a really nice guitar, and I picked up this one. It can't speak, but it's a Schecter. It is the C1 Exotic, and it's a Diamond Series. Ooh. So of course it cost me about like $1,200 altogether for this thing. Just the guitar. Oy. Anyway, it's got these like super cool tuner's pegs at the back here, where like you see these round circles on it. It's got these big round circles. You just give those a twist and the string pops right out. That's the first guitar I've ever owned where I don't have to like sit there and tie some kind of ancient tourniquet just to get a freaking thin piece of metal they didn't have back in that day to actually strap on. And that's funny to think about. They didn't have strings that were made of steel back in those days. They had for harpsichords and shit, I think, though, right? You know what? To hell with those ancient weaponries. They're just a piece of the past. We don't need to know about that just yet. Sorry, I'm getting my strap all figured out. Just for you, because that's why we're live streaming. We know what we're doing. Alright, now we're on. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit of guitar and I'm going to show you what I mean. We're going to talk about a favorite of our bands all together in the world. Who doesn't love Metallica? Anyway. right, so that is the newly understood concepts I work with along my hip hop, metal, and my demon summoner that I have written here. Anyway, it's not really a big fame thing or anything, but it's definitely something that I did that I need to keep talking about, and that's what I'm doing right here on this show. So if you don't know that, you're on the last of the episodes here until I do something more special and extra for this season or whatever happens. But it will be ending on this one. This is the final episode. There were only 6, and let me tell you, there are 6 strings. So, of course, I don't really know what I'm switching on there. But anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit about Metallica if I got the moment to. But until then, I don't think I have anyone in here. But I got to open up my iPhone so I can tell that we're streaming live. And, if there's anyone in there and whatnot, I got to be able to see it just in case. I managed to get through 5 episodes without having anyone actually show up or interrupt, technically. But that's okay. We're already 10 minutes into the stream, and I haven't even started yet. So we better go ahead and show you what I'm talking about here. We're going to open up some YouTube page here. This is our friends Metallica. That guitar he's playing. Oh man, I don't know. We're going to be stuck here watching this forever if we're not careful. Those guys know how to put on a show. When they play something serious. That's a show to watch. Anyway, but Metallica, if you are watching their Metallica songs live and whatnot, that will be very impressive and all. But what you want to notice is the way they play. If you can help it, if you're not too busy rocking out, take a notice of the way they play. Kurt Hammett is the lead guitarist, and James Hetfield is the other guitarist. He's the lead singer, so he plays different leads and whatnot. But there's a lot of cool riffs. Now, of course, I used Metallica, like I'm saying, as the only basically the only metal aspect to it I had is Metallica. So I want to add metal aspects to it later on in the future. And of course, Metallica won't be the only one invited to that situation. But you can really tell that some of the muting sounds they make, they kind of seem to make this sound a little bit higher. And then that sounds a lot lower. But this sounds a lot higher. So if you mix it together, it would be like lower, higher. And that's kind of how I figured we would pop in and out of the phases nicely. And when we return to those phases with the open frets and the riffs, we would use a bit of that style on some of the downward swings, on the breakdowns and whatnot. and you can really kind of give a dimension. I'm a little bit more experienced now than I was when I first began, and I'm a little bit more focused on it. I'd have to really write something up for you to do it, but that's kind of the tactic I used during the Demon Summoner. Was I used Metallica in the mindset to create any of the heavy metal distorted sections. Everything else was basically technical and positional and accurate to other kinds of teas. So of course, if that ain't your cup of tea, let's figure out why. And once we figure out just why that ain't your cup of tea, which we should be able to see once more, because this is not our true footage. Someone else has caught footage of these guys. Master of Puppets. One of the biggest inspirations for me. Master of Puppets. So do you hear those riffs? Back in high school, I used to have friends that would say, like Master of Puppets, before they played their guitar. And if you heard those riffs, they go from high and low quite quickly. I'm going to show you quickly what I mean by that. You get a really good crunchy and a really high functioning vibe. You get a clean distortion out of it just by going up and down on those scales. Metallica's always been a really good clean metal band. The way they play their guitar solos especially, they're very clean. Hopefully we can catch some Kirk Hammett playing on there guitar solo wise. And maybe we can change our mode overnight in a sense. I'm sorry, I can barely even stand still while I'm listening to these guys. I can't even really focus like on what any positional tasks. So he's about to solo right here. Hopefully we can actually see it while it loads. Thank you, Pigeon Paul. Hear that? So there's a good example of Kirk Hammett soloing. I think you've heard their solos quite a lot in the past. I can't quite get the video to load. It doesn't really matter. They're awesome as is. And of course, let me see here. Let's talk about some of that. So of course, the guitar soloing that he had done was in a more clean tone. A clean tone. And it really it tended to pop through the aspects of their music, even though the rest of their song was quite heavy and brutal. The solo came out nice and loud and clear, but you kind of had it separate from the rest of it. So of course I used the idea to have a separate not clean tones guitar solo, but definitely a separated section of guitar solo using other guitar solos. And Metallica was a perfect example of doing just that. I really don't know why my browser's not loading, like. Anyway. So these guys are back in the day from the 80s and the 70s, I think. 80s, and well, they were around in the 70s, I think. Um, they're quite cool, and these two together make like some kind of combination. I'm gonna have to hang on here. Save image. Did I get that properly loaded? I'm sorry. Let me see if I can get a image. Come on, hurry, hurry! I'm trying. Pictures. Okay, hang on. I'll find it. I'll give me a second here. You're gonna have to bear with me. Oh, I think I got it now. Yeah, it took like 7 tries, but I got it now. Okay. The song is over. You took too long. I've totally done that before. Finally, there we go. Okay, so these two guys here, they make one hell of a cultural icon together. They make a guitar solo fiasco. When you notice that, you can basically see his switch. James Hetfield's switch, is facing the other way, where you can literally see that Kurt Hammett's switch is all the way up onto the lead neck, and his is all the way back on the rhythm guitar. So, of course, an example where the guitarists actually do use entirely different polarities of tone is like rare and amazing, because there it is. It's totally going the wrong way, and then his one is totally going the right way. So you might wonder what their like settings are and their stuff and whatnot. And these guys are pretty badass. So of course I wanted to use some of that aspect in the things I wrote, because I figured they would be able to handle the demon that I summon. And it was perfect, and they did handle the demon ever so elegantly. I'd like to show you how to switch your guitar tone in the same song right now. Hang on. So this here is a coil splitter, I believe. It splits between a single coil, which is much sweeter, and a double coil, which is definitely a lot harder, more intense. So I'm going to switch it to double coil. I'm going to turn it back down to the bottom riff. And I'm going to turn the tone knob right down. And I'm going to show you a little bit of riff action I tried. And then I'm going to flick the switches up, and we're going to try a different bit of solo style. Okay, so that is 4 settings. I got 4 different settings going on there. We got the double coil fully toned down on the bridge pickup, guitar chunking around and chugging and whatnot. And then, of course, we got the higher knob settings of the same double coil, which could have done, I guess, on a single coil quite nicely. It would have been a lot sweeter. It could have been if I delicately played the riff, maybe. It was a little bit more psychedelic anyway. It felt good, so I figured that would be awesome. And then, of course, I used a double coil for that. And then, of course, we have a fully dialed in neck pickup. I didn't bring the tone down because I didn't have too many dimensions built to it yet, even though I feel like I can. And a lot of the songs I do make with the guitar, at least, or the things I make with it, whatever these monsters are, I tend to play with the dial if I can help it. And then, of course, I used a single coil near the end of the guitar solo there, just to lighten the feeling on the strings, and it did help while I was playing some more delicate stuff to tone in directly to very sensitive sounds. I have a multi-tonal switch where I can switch between it on the Fender, but it's actually just 2 knobs for the switches. The other knobs don't affect it. It's quite delicate feature. I think you can actually maybe play a little bit with the coil with it, but I don't know if that's true. If so, it would take a very finite ear, and it was something to practice on, that's for sure. But this one here gives you all you need for it. So, of course, right here talking about James Hetfield one more time, and Kurt Hammett looking so badass. And I think, just out of all fairness, we got to get the rest of the band in this picture. That's a really cool one, but maybe we can get that's an older one. Hey, whoa, when was that made? Come on, Metallica. Let's give him with these guys. These guys are looking very good. Call them casual. I'm sorry about that. Okay, I don't mean to say they're casual. And my internet just won't load. You know, it's just, go figure. Let me see if I can just move this over and we can click on it. I'm going to move my big head out of the way and see if we can look at it. Let me get rid of this for a second. Let me see. This is all of Google. Anyway, yeah. No, it won't load. But anyway, these guys are looking so good together, right? There's Nate, Lars, James, and Kirk. Oh God, I'm almost certain his name is Nate. I hope I didn't mess that up live and then not going back. Anyway, no, his name's Nate. I'm not crazy. Anyway, this was all 4 of them making that sound. So, of course, we're done talking about Metallica for this episode. And thank you so much for listening and watching. I need your ear for all these things. And what we're going to be doing is pulling away that last bit of inspiration and moving on to something new of inspiration. So that when we do make a new hip-hop metal, it comes from something else. Now, there's a lot of cool metal bands out there from the back in the day, but there's a lot of really new cool metal bands, and I'm going to be looking for all the newest metals I can find. I know a lot of metal because I listen to a lot of it. It's definitely more my style, but we're going to have to take it easy on that, and we're going to practice something called a didgeridoo. And I tried to involve the didgeridoo in that style at Metallica. I'd had to imagine what would Metallica sound like if they focused on a didgeridoo style. They kind of do. Their bass player does come through a lot, kind of like Iron Maiden does. Now, I think they knew something about Iron Maiden back in the day. Maybe they were friends. So I'll be looking for new ways to play my power chords and new ways to add sections of djent and sections of riff action and breakdowns, all for it. And you know what? I won't be using the Metallica section as much, but that is exactly what I did back in those days. And now I'm going to be changing all that. It's going to be a little bit difficult. That's the hard part. It's changing anyway. Who has to do that? Who wants to do that? I don't have to do that. I already talked about them. Anyway, so I'm going to play a little bit of guitar soloing again for you in some other way. I'm going to change a tone, and we're just going to play a chill tune I got set up on here. It's just some walking blues, and we're going to play it, and I'm going to see if I can even get the djent to actually sound bluesy. Let's try it. Okay, so that was something interesting. It was something weird. I made a bluesy styled degen mix up. I don't know. I don't think it was too successful, but it did definitely play its out. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was a lot of fun, but I'm gonna get your opinion on it over time. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Sambongo Dragon. This one was extra fun. I really wanted to be able to take a look at these guys, but before I go, I'm gonna give you a quick, detailed story about my life. When I went in to the Tom Lee down on Granville Street, just outside of the SkyTrain station, right across this stupid intersection here where the pigeons fly above your head, and whatever you're holding in your hand makes you feel 1,000 pounds too heavy, or even 2,000 pounds too light. Sorry, I meant too light. Well, of course, I walked in and I went in and I had to come back another day, but I did come in, and when I did, I grabbed this guitar alone and I played these notes here alone. And I said, yes, I want to buy it. And the guy looked at me with full surprise, like, oh, like the whole thing, right? You guess you just make money. And I guess I just make money. Naturally, I bought the guitar for the whole price there with a new patch cable and a bunch of guitar picks and some extra strings to go with it. I loved the crap out of it, and I changed the strings like 4 times, but right next to me while I was choosing what guitar to buy with the price, this one had a brother guitar next to it. Some crazy acid yellow wood grain finish, secondary C1 exotic. It may have been a C2 exotic, I don't know. Same price and everything. I grabbed this one. It has these little spots here. I don't know if I can really see them in the light, but they look like these misted blue dew resin marks, like you know when you go out in the spring morning and you see the grass is all dewy and cold, but it's spring, it should be hot. Well, it looks like a frosted dew marking here, and it's not mess or shine, it's actually just a weird frosted dew on it. I don't really know what to say about it. It may have been engraved with the fingerprints while they were woodworking it, but that's pretty kick-ass. Anyway, next to it was a Jackson for $700. I really looked at to buying. There was a couple Gretches I really wanted, a couple Fender Telecasters, Stratocasters, and of course an LTD Kurt Hammett edition ESP guitar with a full Floyd Rose on the bottom and these cool skull and cross bones on each fret marker, and there was 2 on the 12. It was pretty amazing. I really wanted it, and it was like $800. So if I didn't get this one, if someone else bought it, if anything else there, I may have not have bought its brother guitar even, and I may have bought that Kurt Hammett one. And I'm still thinking of going back for it. But until that day comes, I will be leaving that store ever going. And I hand the bum his $5, and I drop my tickets, and I walk down to the SkyTrain. And it's a subway at that point, and of course, boom, I get back to the surface level in my neighborhood over here, and voila, we are flying with the dragons ourselves, and it's been a lot of fun, and thank you so much for listening to that weird story. It's going to mean a lot to me, but it's also going to pave the way for me to soar beyond what I had created, and hopefully to create something brand new in the future. And, I'm going to have to get rid of this picture here of James Hetfield and Kurt Hammett. I'm gonna have to see some more of their live shit. They're really good together, and or just as is naturally. Okay, so I'm gonna play us out here. This was great, so much fun, having a lot of fun with this, guys. Fill up your newsfeed, like, subscribe, make a comment, fill up your newsfeed, fill up my newsfeed. Do all of that for us, and of course, welcome to the live stream. This will be the ending of the season, and I'll be doing a few other live streams just if I'm bored later on. And yeah, check out my channels if you can. I'll play us out. Let's go.